All right, what's good? Um, for those of you that are active in the Neopets Discord, you've probably realized that Neil and I have cooked just a little bit with some things that are different with the route. In fact, to the point that current PB is down to a 31:38, which is about 2 minutes faster than it was when I made the tutorial way back in June, July, something like that. I don't know, whenever it was. So I'm gonna go over that. I have the hack menu installed. Um, and I'll be using states to point out a few specific places, but I'm gonna like run through the normal bits like normal. I have a list of things that I just skimmed through and I was like, that's different, that's different, that's different. And I'm just gonna hit on those. None of these do you have to implement, but I will point out the ones that are worthwhile. And there's also gonna be timestamps for each of these. It's not gonna be that bad. So if you want to review on something, it'll be there. If not, otherwise, uh, good luck. A lot of this is really hard optimizations. Some of them are genuinely game or run ending. So it can be pretty bad at times, but it's usually not too terrible. The ones that come to mind are namely Starlight Gauntlet, which I'm calling Starlet, and the Wrongwarp. The Wrongwarp saves about 10 seconds in Act 3. Starlight Gauntlet saves... I think I had the fastest Gauntlet in general of the people doing fast Gauntlet anyway. I could be wrong about that. But regardless, from doing that to doing Starlet now, I'm saving 14 seconds, so it's significant regardless. Let's see. There's a few things that are like super easy to implement, like CLIG. So we're already doing Chlorage, but we're also doing Fig at the same time, which I'll go through a little bit more in depth to describe what that really means. We're duping a little bit more money, and we have some spin tech is what I'll refer to it as. The big thing to know right now is that spinning with your sword whilst in midair and on the ground actually, but we'll get to that, has some interesting effects for Tor, and it changes how we do certain areas and makes a few skips actually possible. The biggest one is that we're removing Meth Warp. So there's no RNG anymore with whether or not the crystal's just going to work or not. Because even though we had ways to make it more consistent, it would still break sometimes. We're not 100% sure why, but that was really bad. But yeah. For here, for running into Meridel, everything is the exact same. It's no faster, no slower. I'm just really bad at this movement today, apparently. We're going up. Remember, if you have your speed pot, you can just run straight off that and you'll be okay. Grab the Arbendus, jump up here for low grab, and fall right off. If you don't have low grab, or if the auto jump gets you, you'll have high grab, and you'll have to either jump down or just go higher up on the log before you get down. Either way. Yeah, that was really bad movement, wow. And we're gonna exit here and enter Meridel like normal. And we're gonna do Mirka Chase like normal. I should start explaining now what Fig is, because it's going to take me a little bit. But Fig is floating item glitch, which... The animation when you pick up an item for the first time, I'll show it here on the leaf real quick, even though we'll see it later. But just for demonstration's sake. When you pick up an item for the first time, or certain key items, so like key or like special items, like silver negs, every time you pick them up, it'll do it. The first time you pick up a moat, it'll do this animation with the text box respectively. And no matter how fast you close the text box, you're stuck in that animation for a certain length of time, which is the problem. In order to bypass that, what we can do instead is doing a glitch called Fig. And what this entails is pausing on the same frame that you're picking up an item for the first time, or something that's giving you the pickup animation. The things this doesn't work on is if you're Tor and you're buying a sword or a shield, or if you're Roberto buying a wand or a dress. I guess, or if Tor could buy like the plate mail from Inga early. The reason being is that it has an entirely different animation that doesn't play the same, and we've tried, or I've at least tried doing it with that to see if we could kill that special pickup animation, but nothing really came of it. So what we typically do for this run is we'll go and do it on the purple Juppy in Elspeth's shop in Kogum after we get the cloak. And you're probably thinking, if we can... I didn't explain this well. You can skip all of the pickup animations for the rest of the run until you reset the console. So the one downside is that if you get far enough in a run that you've done CLIG, you will have to reset the console before you can do it, but that's as simple as just for emulator, escape, hit close game, and then hit reset system, and it'll boot you back in. You'll be fine. For for console, that's just tapping the power button, and it will reset itself, and then it will reset Fig. This turned out to be slightly useful for a number of reasons. Because one thing that we were experimenting with was putting Starlights into Gauntlet. And because, we'd never really messed with Starlight potions, and, Charles loves his Starlight potions and all that. So what we found is that when I optimized it the best I could, we're saving like 14 seconds over the current fast Gauntlet speed, as I said before. Which is significant, especially at a high level. But it is way harder. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, that's awesome. However, when we buy the Starlight potions in Act 3 from Gord's cart in Meridell Plains, every time you buy a Starlight, you get a pickup animation, because it's a special item, I guess is what it's considered. So, we have to do Fig so that we can skip that, otherwise we lose time doing it. And that saves enough time on itself that it's worth it, because going over to Elspeth's shop, so long as you hit Chlorage, or so long as you hit CLIG, which is Chlorage Fig, or Cloak Fig, or whatever you'd like to call it, but it's two at the same time. As long as you hit it on the first try, it's not that slow to go into her shop. I need 2k. And the other thought you're probably having is, if it skips pickup animations, why would we not do it earlier in the run? Because then we could skip picking up, say, the Arbendis. We don't have to jump into the Leaf Mode, which sets us from 9.68, I think it is, running speed to 9.0 while we're in the air. Speaking of which, I'm going to turn that on. 9.64 to 9.0 while we're in the air. That's a great question. It also would skip the sword and the shield pickup animations here, and the power potion pickup animation, and the original Mirka speed potion pickup. The problem is that depending on what you do Fig on, it changes what you can do. The way you actually do Fig is that on the same frame that you pick up an item, you're pausing the game with select. During that, you have two options. You can either load a save, and that will apply Fig to the console, or instead, you can quit game and then start a new game. And by start a new game, I mean like quit game to main menu and hit new game, or load a save from there, either way. That's what we do for Hundo, because we'll go immediately turn around at the very beginning of a Hundo run. We'll grab Bucket to do Fig with the Bucket. We'll quit to the main menu, and we'll load back in. We'll get the beginning cutscenes again, since we have no save, and we'll do everything from there. And that saves minutes of time, because of how much we do, how many items we pick up, and how many things we would have to sit through for Hundo. And the reason we don't do that here is because on emulator, which is the faster of the two, of course, we lose about, I don't know. Whoops. We're losing about 27 seconds at the very beginning of the run setting up Fig on the Bucket. In between the beginning of the run and when we're in Kogum doing CLIG, we're only picking up... The timing comes out to about 2.5 seconds per item, and then the sword and shield are about 3 seconds per item, respectively. Let's say 6 seconds between the sword and the shield. We grab the Arbendis, which is 2.5. We'll grab the Miracle Speed Potion, which is 2.5. We'll grab the Power Potion, which is 2.5. So that's 7.5 seconds plus 6. So we're talking 13.5 seconds plus the frames from not having to jump into the Leaf Moat at the very beginning of the run. That's all we're picking up. And that is a valuable time save, but we're losing more time than it's worth for us to do that early, whereas it takes us a couple seconds to walk into Elspeth's shop and do CLIG there while we do Chlorage, since we have to load a save anyway. It saves us time to do it there, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. The first thing, we dupe 10k. I was a little thinking too much, but I'll put something in there for that. We dupe 10k at the beginning of the run, and that's because we need to save $1,500 for Starlight potions. The reason being is that the Starlight potions are $400 each. Starlight potions are $400 each from Gord's shop, and if we... the ideal way with Gauntlet for Starlet is to have 4 potions, and if you can do math, you're probably thinking like 15 divided by 400, or 15 divided by 4 is not 4. You're dumb. We get the 150 from Roberta. Miracle Speed Potion costing 500. Roberta starts with 1,150 bucks. When she comes into Act 3, we've used the 1,000 for the 2 Miracle Speed Potions we use in Act 2, and we'll have the 150 left over. So Tor having 1,500 on him plus the 150 is 1,650. So we have 50 bucks extra to play with, which we don't end up using. We've enough money to buy 4 Starlights, which is the ideal number we have for Starlet. Everything up to here, other than the dupes and the fact that we're saving $1,500, is the same. Starting here, we have this new spin tech. So if you move the stick in a circle and then spin like that, you can get Tor to spin, right? That's great. This is going to become pretty integral with the next few tricks and changes that we made. The biggest thing here is that we have the YOLO. So let me load the state. So we're here. I would normally reset my gravity to 1.0, run over, jump, try to time it to hit the YOLO. I didn't hit the YOLO there, it's whatever. We can come back here, run right here, wait for my feet to touch the bottom, and then do the water walk like that. That's fine. It's okay. What we found instead is I accidentally spun one time, and it didn't register at the time, but I spun into the water plane and then didn't die. I just didn't recognize it, and then I had the thought later, and I was like, I wonder if, because we can bubble chain, which I can demonstrate that now, actually, I wonder if we can just spin and break water planes. If you charge up an attack with no mode on your sword, you have the swing that it is actually going off. During that swing, you can equip any mode and do this. And that's literally just me charging an attack and then putting the mote on during that swing, and it will start the next animation. And it's not using any of my mote. You can see that I'm starting with 901. If I take off the bubble mote, I swing and I put it on, I still have 901 bubble mote. Nothing has changed. That is what we refer to as bubble chaining, when you put on and take off the bubble mote back to back like this. And this might not look very special, especially for the fact that it's just a spin move. Like, who cares? Where it becomes special is the fact that... Let's see, let me walk over to this side. Is the fact that we can actually apply this, if that makes sense. So, I said before that spinning has some weird effects. If I make a quick save right here, right, and I walk off this edge, I can spin, and because I have low gravity, Tor's momentum will stop. I accidentally did a Spinclip there, we'll get to that. Tor's momentum will just stop. His downwards velocity will just cease to exist. And that's exactly what we want, actually. And we found that if you, say, spin attack in midair, you can chain this and get distance like that. And you can clip into the water just by spinning, and on the correct frame, if you're spamming it fast enough, which looks about like... Whoops. About that fast. And it's not when I'm targeting it during the spin. Like, I can wait pretty long before starting it, but it's the two circle presses that need to be really close together for this to work. You can do this, and you can advance downwards into the water plane and go just far enough that Tor's head goes through the water, but he's not drowning. Or just about his collarbone, I guess. His head is just above the water. So, like I did earlier on accident, what we can also do is just do a little bit of a spin, which I messed that up, that's okay. I'm gonna come back over here, and we're right here. So I have low grab, I'm gonna make the save here, and so what we can do instead of the YOLO is do a Spinclip. And this might seem stupid, because like, oh, it's the same thing as the YOLO, so why are we doing this instead? Well, the reason we're doing this is that the Spinclip is actually skill-based. Before with the YOLO, there was the window where you needed to hit the jump slash. If you didn't hit the jump slash in that window, it didn't matter. Nothing matters. You're not hitting it. If you hit that window for the jump slash with the YOLO, but you get unlucky with how the water planes are seated, you just don't get it sometimes. With the Spinclip, because it's literally you just spinning on the same frame that you should be drowning, you can fully negate this by learning the timing of it like that and just skilling it. I wouldn't say I'm very consistent with it yet, but there's days that I'm fairly decent. The problem is that if you go too early, you end up wasting more time than you would for jump slash. But it's not super hard to do. The biggest thing is knowing when to start your spin, and then not waiting too long to do your attack and not doing your attack too early. Those are the two hardest parts of this. And if you don't hit it, it's not that big of a deal, because you'll come right back here and we'll just do the jump, just like normal. The biggest thing is, as a change from the YOLO, for the YOLO we would like to lose our low grab, and then do like, I was early, but do like that. Here we want to keep the low grab, which means we don't have to jump, which saves frames, maybe like half a second max. We can jump straight into this, get the ledge grab like we normally do, run straight off with L2, and time the spin. And if you time the spin right, you'll get the clip right through the water. I was starting my spin early there. This is one of the places I recommend having a save. Having a save here is very crucial. It's not terribly hard to hit, but it's not easy to hit. It takes some time, it takes some feeling. Spins are going to come back, so get comfortable with them. For now, I'm going to put Leaf back on, and I'm going to continue. After the Spinclip, we're just going to go straight through this wall. So, for perspective, if I did the buffer here, this is where we're looking. If I do Spinclip, we're about here. It's the same place. And you can go here, run right off this ledge, or jump right off of it, sorry. And then we're going to do this like normal. And we're going to run to mines completely normally. And if you recall from the very beginning, I mentioned that Crystal Meth Warp is gone. And if you're anything like Shy, you're probably upset about that, because it was a cool trick. It was a cool trick. It was flashy, but it was inconsistent. It was also, it took a minute. A whole minute. Which doesn't seem like a whole lot when you think about it. But when we're talking the run is 31 minutes as of right now, a minute's a long time for a single trick. Especially when that's only barely faster than just running through the mine itself, and it was kind of inconsistent. So instead, what we can do is a little fun thing that kind of calls back to the original route. So I'll show it off now. I'm going to make my state here. And I'm going to show off the original route that we used to... Okay, well, that's not where I want to make my state. I'm a little silly. It's too far over. Should be good enough. Please, please. So this was the original route through mines. We would turn to the right immediately upon loading mines to go out to stay out of bounds, so we could run directly into that hallway and jump through into it. And we would follow the normal path. Take a left after the save point. Go to the 4th track and take a right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You run straight across this. Avoid the minecarts. Drop down here at the windmill. Take a hard left. Go past Otto. Hello, Otto. Take a right. Go past these 2 Dragonaks. Take a left. Say hi to this Ixie. Come to this minecart track, and then follow the minecart track. Stanley's to the left there. We're going to continue to follow this minecart track. Or, this is what we did in the past. Going through all this sketchiness and whatnot. There's Mayor Jurgen, which we can't do anything with. Jump down here. And there's the boss right there. That's fine. That takes a good bit of time. Meth Warp, on the other hand, did something similar where we would up warp here, walk backwards to stay out of bounds, wait for everything to load, step onto the plane, and then run straight over to the crystal. And that takes about a minute. Minute 4, minute 6, I think was my timing. I did time these rigorously when we were first messing with it. So I can confirm for sure that it takes like around a minute. And that this is 20, 30 seconds faster. Instead, the route we do now is using spins. So we do the same thing, return right. If you don't get that, you'll pop up into the first room anyway. So what'll happen is if you turn either late or you get caught in like this as opposed to getting the quick turns with the strafe turning, you'll just land here somewhere. You'll just go in here and take a right. It's the only place you can go. You'll pop out into here. Take a left. We will not pick up this dark moat because we're doing CLIG afterwards, so it does not matter for us to pick it up. Because all the bosses, but because Ixie 2 is neutral aligned, because they did give it an alignment, it doesn't matter what moat we use. A tier 2 will always be better than a tier 1, and a Nova and Supernova will always be better than a tier 2. And we don't have anything other than the leaf moat right now, so it doesn't matter what we have. So we're going to continue. You're going to continue on straight. We're going to come to this save point. We're going to turn left, just like the old route did. And here, I'm going to take out this guy, if he'll let me. You're beefy. Here, so we came in through this door just now. You're coming in here, and you're going to immediately take a left at this first track. And the problem with this is that there's minecarts coming. And if you watch my gravity value, if I can time this well, if I get hit by a minecart right after I jump, I get stuck at 0.3 gravity. Funnily enough, that's a great thing for us. You can also just continue your movement forward. And similar to text box jumping, where if you jump into something, open the text box, you get the low gravity, you get the momentum preservation, and you start really moving fast. This will do a similar thing. So I'm running at 17.7. I jump up to 26 there. And I'm not going to jump again because I have the Miracle Speed Potion, which it might still be faster. I mean, I'll test it right now. We'll find out. I actually have to hit the thing. I actually have to hit the thing still. Yeah, so it just locks you at 17. So you're still faster to just run like normal. So at some point during this, you're going to end up getting hit by minecart, and that's perfectly fine. Ideally, you can find a place where you're comfortable jumping into that hit so that you can maintain low gravity, because we'll need it for later. You have to avoid all of these lava pits, so don't walk into any of these. Holding L2 here is a little bit scary, but if you work up your confidence with the movement, it's not that bad. I like to jump into that minecart there. We keep coming straight, and we're here. So over there, you can see Ixie Chieftain. He's just there. And there, just above Tor's ears, is the bridge that we take to get to him. Right about there is the cutscene. What we can do, because we have low gravity here, is that we can just do an L2 jump like that. We run straight off with L2 and R1. We have low gravity, and you can just jump like that. If you don't have low gravity, you can still make this jump fairly easily. So I'll take away my low grav, and it's a little tight. But you can make this jump just barely. I need to be a little bit more to the right. So there's this little like corner here and this corner there. That's where you're aiming. It is tight. I wouldn't recommend going for it, but it is possible. So once we're here, you might think that is way too far for us to jump, and you'd be right. The great thing is that we have copTOR. copTOR, C-O-P-T-O-R, if you will. What we can do is we can have low gravity by grabbing that ledge onto this platform that we're on now to get low gravity. And we can hold L2 and R1, and we can do most of the spin animation just before, like just on the edge of the platform. And then when we're pushing back forward on the stick, go just off the platform so that we can spin in midair. The reason we have to go off the platform first is that if I spin right here, just like with Tor swinging, I can't go off this edge. Like, he's just not going to let me go off this edge. Same thing with the thrust, same thing with the spin. No matter what I do, Tor will not go off this edge while he's attacking. So what we have to do instead is do a majority of the spin input on the edge of this platform, and at the very end, really shoot forward and just barely hit that window for the spin attack after we're off the platform. So it should look something like that. I messed up the second part there because I waited too long. So this is a risky spot because of game overing. There are saves you can hit here if you really want to. It's entirely up to you. The biggest thing is to make sure that you start the spin as high as possible. Like, if you walk off and then start the spin, like this, you're going to be far too low to make anything. Like, even if I hit the jump there, nothing's happening from that. That's why the ideal strat is to do something like that, spam jump, and you can make that. That's why we need low grab, and that's why we need L2. The weird thing with this is, if you look at my speed, if I run forward, I'm at 17.84-ish. If I do a spin attack, I get locked at about 7.3, we'll say. If I do a spin attack and then jump out of it, I go up to 13.36. And you're probably thinking, okay, that's still slower than when you have a mirror speed potion. Who cares? The interesting part is that doing a jump out of a spin based on whether you're grounded or considered grounded or not will either give you height similar to about a third of a Megajump height, or if you're not grounded, it will give you distance and speed as if you were doing a cloak dash, about half that speed. And while we can't make this jump if I were to just run straight off and do it like this, we can abuse the fact that since we can maintain our relative height by spinning, we can make distance just far enough so that we can reliably hit this jump and hit the ledge grab and then start this fight. This is scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It does end up being, however, about 40 seconds, or about 20 to 30 seconds faster. If you hit the YOLO or the spin clip, which the spin clip should be about the same time, if not maybe half a second faster, because you continue to move forward, whereas the jump slash YOLO, you just drop straight down and then you have to start moving again. I forgot where I was going with that. But this is 20 to 30 seconds faster. I know my old time without hitting the YOLO used to be around 4:57 for 5 minutes flat, something like that for the Cogum split. And I split when I get the cloak. It has come down to, without the YOLO slash spin clip, either way, a 4:27, and with the YOLO, the lowest I had with really good movement and everything else was a 4:17. So like 30 seconds, 40 seconds if you hit the YOLO, like very fast. So it's worth learning. It is a little bit scary. It just takes some time. Highly, highly, highly recommend having a state set up both right here, as well as having one set up at the beginning of mines. So what I'm going to do now that I've explained it is I'm going to run back to the beginning of mines. I'm going to go outside of mines, and then I'm just going to run the whole thing from the beginning. And I'll try to commentate it as I go for that. It takes a little bit more focus because you have to do some inbounds movement instead of just running straight into the distance. But it's altogether not that bad. It really just takes time to get a feeling of what the spin feels like. And once you have a timing for the spin, you don't have to spam jump super hard to get the jump out of it. You can just feel mostly where it's about, or about where it's going to be, and then know that, okay, I have to hit jump somewhere around now, and you can hit it then, and then you'll be good. I'm just getting back to the outside of mines real quick. Backups and whatnot. Interesting. I was all the way against the invis wall. I'm not really sure how I drowned there. It's whatever. I am silly. Like this. So I'm gonna make my state here. And you know what? For fun, I'll time it anyway. Give me 1 second here. I got timer back. Make sure. Okay, yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pop that like that just for my state, and we will go. I know that once Tor stops moving and he kind of looks like he's stuck, so the stuff in the background stops getting closer, that I'm inside the wall for the hallway, and so I just jump straight through. There's a little lip here that can auto jump you, so hold L2 around that corner. Take this first train track, hit, ideally jump there. There we go. I'm gonna skip this one. Jump right here. Grab that. Over here. Spam jump out of it. And then while you're pulling up on the ledge there, I should have split. It was around 40 seconds. At the point there, while you're pulling up, you can just grab the ledge. While you're grabbing the ledge to pull up, you can pop your power potion and menu back to your speed potion. I'll show that one more time. A little bit cleaner this time. So that time I almost went inbounds there, so I had to turn pretty aggressively to the right to stay out of bounds. Ever so slightly faster still. I believe I timed it to about 1.5 seconds difference whether you're out of bounds or inbounds. Either way, it doesn't really matter, as long as you haven't soft-locked yourself going into a weird place. So I ruined my low grab there, so I gotta grab on this one. About 40 seconds. And that was when the screen was mostly red. It's fairly fast. For Ixie 2, the same thing applies. We're just doing shield cancels for our Phantom 4s. He's being mean. And there we go. Not too bad. Not a lot of that is terribly hard. It's more scary than anything to do copTOR over the lava. I promise. With that, we're going to go over here. You don't have to pop a potion here. I just do because I'm insane. I also didn't hit the tech skip because I'm stupid. It's fine. We save Mayor Jurgen like normal, and we go back to Cogum like normal. And that's all the same. Where things get a little bit more difficult is doing Fig while we do Chlorage. I'll show things off. I'll run to the right here. Drop down here. I'm going to give myself an extra speed potion. Shoot real quick. Potion. And then this way. Again, this water in this section is game over water, so I look at this black seam in the ceiling right here between Tor's ears. I go right towards that, and I'm okay every time. We jump on the bottom of the ladder here, and if you time your swing like that, you can get a quick ladder grab and skip jumping up it, and it's faster. Do a tech skip, go into Gigatad. Right over to Mayor Jurgen. And now we have the cloak. Great. We're almost back to kind of normalness. Except for the fact that we do CLIG. So instead of just sitting here right now and doing Chlorage like this, what I like to do is I put on the cloak while I don't have control of Tor. During that cutscene of it moving back towards him. And I also like to spam R3 to center the camera behind me. So that way I can just set up my finger so I have my index on R1. My middle finger is hovering R2. And then I have my thumb just on face buttons. And I run right over to Elspeth's shop. Hiya. And so I run right up to this purple jump because it's the easiest for me to get to. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit select. And right after hitting select, we're going to wait just a fraction of a second and then hit square and R2. You can hit square and circle if you wish. I find it harder to hit both of those since they're kind of in an awkward position, but R2 is just on the back there. But you're going to wait a little bit, you're going to hit square and R2. And if you get just the Fig, it will look like that. You'll pick up the Jumpy, it'll be in front of your face, and you'll hear the pickup animation noise. That's how you know you got it. Even if you can't see the item, if you heard it, you know you got it regardless. And with Chlorage, the same thing applies, where if you only get that, it'll look like that, the screen will go white. So, what you're going to do is you're going to hit select, and then you're going to hit square and R2 at the same time, just after a little bit of delay. Like that. And so, even if I didn't see that I got the Jumpy there, like if I blinked during it, 'cause there's not a very large window to see it, I heard the sound, meaning that I know that I got Fig, and I have the cloak off because my screen went white, and I heard the sound of it pulling his sword out. So at this point, we go to load game, and we load the save we made in Meridel. And you'll notice that for the rest of the run, there will be a purple Jumpy in front of our face. Now, here, we're just going to save the game and load the game again to actually apply the cloak. Because right now, we're still in that pseudo-cloak scenario where If we put it on, it just disappears from our inventory, nothing happens. And just to be clear, it doesn't have to be these items. It can be any item. I can do it on the peach belt. I can do it on the red jumpy. I can do it on the purple jumpy. I could pull a Niz, and I could go do it on one of the maps here. I could do it on the Starry Neg here. I could do it on the Starlight potion here if I wanted to. I didn't put on the cloak for that, but it doesn't matter what I do it on. As long as you get it, the only thing to note is that, let's say I do this and I failed to do the Chlorage part of it, I'm going to cancel that. So I'm going to back out of the select menu there. I'm going to close the text box. I'm going to move to a new item. The reason being is that I can't get the pickup animation again with the purple chubby. Like, even though you can tell that I'm buying it on the same frame, because now it's moving to the top right after I unpause, I can't get Fig with that anymore. So I will have to move to another item. I like to do the red jumpy and then the peach flow if I have to, but ideally I don't have to. So we'll do forage like that, load the game. Sorry, we'll do CLIG like that, load the game. Once we're in Meridel, I like to use the time here to turn my camera into turn towards where I'm going to go later, which is towards plains. We're going to save the slot. We're going to load the game. And we'll be back like normal. Kind of. Awesome. So we're here. We have Fig going, and we have both cloaks, which is really just the one cloak. And just to show some things off, so we still have our $1,500. Because we loaded the save, even though we bought things and messed around over in Kogum, it doesn't carry over. Which means that even though we duped only 1,500 earlier, if we were to waste more than $50 trying to do Fig or CLIG, it doesn't matter because we get our money back. And to show some things, like, these sword pieces always give you a pickup animation because they're key items for the quest. If I walk into this one, it'll just pick up. That's it. It's gone. It's in my inventory, actually, and there's just no pickup animation. That applies to every single thing in the game. Maps, golden eggs, silver eggs, key items, first time pickups on moats, on consumables, anything like that. And this is wonderful. We love this. And so, we're just going to run right across this bridge. That's Meridel Plain, like Meridel Square. We're going to go to the plains, just like normal. And we're going to drown here, just like we always do. Just a thing to know while we're here. If you turn around that rock a little bit, it's technically a little bit faster. It's a shorter line to drown. For right here, this seems strange, but because of the changes we've made doing Starlet, assuming you choose to do that, we can actually only pick up, or we can get away with only picking up one water boat here, which would mean that we turn to the right and pick up this one. If you don't feel comfortable in doing that yet, because after Starlet, you're left with about, assuming you do it correctly, about 19 water moat remaining. That's not a lot to play with. If you mess up, I believe that's 7 hits, you would be out of water mode. If you do 7 more hits, then we route into it. So, on the safe side, just pick up both modes. Just run right over here, grab this one, and grab this one. Another thing, because we don't have to pick up we don't have any of the pickup animations, you can just run directly into the modes. Doesn't matter, and they're right in your inventory. Here, we're gonna do Treedge. Make sure that your camera is against the wall here, first of all. It seems to make it easier, at least for the people that I've told about it. And also, we recently found out that it's been a suspicion for a few of us for a while, but your gravity actually makes a difference in speed clips. So here I have high gravity, 1.0, And so if I try to do the Spinclip, which, granted, I do this unbuffered, but still, I get it fairly easily. It's not too bad. I'm just going to load this just so I don't waste my potion. If I have low grab here, and I try to do the Spinclip, it's harder for me to get into the wall there. Like, even if I do the buffer, even if I'm doing the buffer, it's still finicky as to whether or not it's going to let me through. Yeah, so that time it did. So just a thing to keep in note, if you're having trouble getting the clips, like, these are fairly nice trees. Like, I'd be happy to have these in a run. Just, like, if it's not working for you, just back up and go back in. Or you can even just jump straight into the trees to reset your position, and it'll work. I just tapped R2 there, and do that. Again, if you're not doing unbuffered, which it is hard, pausing like this, buffering a frame by hitting triangle, then select again until Tor's on the left side, point the stick to the very left, unpause. When Tor's nose is like inside of this, you're not jittering anymore, you know that you've got it, and you're fine. You just jump straight through. We're going to do all this like normal, so we're going to run over here. If I fall down here, I'm just going to back up and go to the right, and kind of circle around this invisible plane. So there's an invisible wall along the bottom of this plane. I'm just coming up on this side of it. So I drop down. Oh no. Just go to the right there. You're okay. Jump into this invisible thing to make sure that I have low grab. And again, we'll do the cloak dash. You can either walk all the way off the edge like this, and then do the cloak dash from here. Or if you really want speed, you can just YOLO it from here. If you're too far back, you will game over, or your thing will run out at a very unfortunate time. Or you can ledge fly if you're at a really awkward distance. There's a lot of things that can go wrong if you're not just doing the very edge. And we're going to run right over to Illusen's like normal. Illusen's is fairly normal, and the changes that are made are incredibly minor, like maybe a second or two. But I'm just going to do my quick upwarp here, and if I don't hit it, then, yep, didn't hit it, so I'm just going to drop down. I'm going to zigzag over and zigzag over. We're going to drop straight down. So what we normally do here is that we go up this first ramp, we come up the second ramp, and right here, I would normally just run to the side here, drop down, over here, go over to the lift and do the ledge fly. What we can do instead, which is ever so minorly faster, is come up here, jump into this ledge, do 2 spins for copTOR down here, and just continue to run straight towards this platform, and we're right here at the lift. Turn towards this, do our slashes, do our ledge fly here. Remember, for this ledge fly, if you have Miracle Speed, do not hold R1. If you do not have Miracle Speed, do hold R1. And then upwards X with L2. And we're going to fly right to Narfis. That saves about a second or two. It's incredibly minor. It's another test of whether or not you know that you for sure got low grab, as well as if you got, if you have your spins really under control. That's awesome. What are we doing? Okay, cool. Here, I'm just going to skill issue on Narfis like normal. Alright. Cool. And again, Narfis is one of those things you really have to get a feel for your own rhythm for it. Using anybody else's Narfis thing is probably not going to work. I mean, feel free to try it. People have attributed the way that I do my attacks for Narfis as close to the McDonald's theme, I think is what they said. Anyway. So here, normally what we would do is we would go to the right here once we're out of this cutscene and go grab a neg or other pickup item to reset our cloak glitches so we can fly out of Illusen's. And that seems great. Sure, let's go do that. We'll go pick up a neg. I don't get the pickup animation because we have Fig. But if I try to do a Megajump, say, nothing happens. Tor is not even trying to jump. Let's see if I try to do a ledge fly here. Nothing happens. Because we can't pick up items and get the animation, we can no longer reset our glitches by picking up items. So we spawn right here for once we drop down. What we're going to do instead is we're going to turn to the Tor's left here, and we're going to run over here past the Chicago plant, over to this house, and into this cave. And so there's going to be these sets of plants, like these. And so I like to count for 3. So there's this set here, 3 on the right side. There's this set here, so that's 2. And there's this third one here. This third one is the key. We can clip straight out of bounds with it. So what this feels like mostly is you're running with R1 straight into the wall, and you're going to turn to the right into this bigger one here while you're up against the wall. So you'll be kind of going like straight in and then turning to the right like that. Tor will slip behind it, and then once you've slipped behind it, you will face back straight towards the wall and then jump through. It's the same thing we do for NOAK. Just like that, and then turn back towards the wall and jump through. That was a little weird, but it's fine. And we're down here. And this seems weird, but off in the distance, right about there, that little dark light split is the same split that we look for in the first place to get out of Illusens and load planes. So I'm going to run straight towards that. I'm going to jump over the invisible wall that's there just like normal. And then this will slowly look more and more familiar. And then we're going to upwarp onto this green plane right here. Turn to the right. Drop straight down. Come outside this water plane and cut in. I will say, for console here, nothing has changed. You're still going to do fast console entry if you're doing that already. Nothing here can be changed. I don't think there's a way that we could do anti-darkness with it without messing it up. But there is a little bit of a change here for emulator, or the people doing the slow console entry, which is this entry. So if we jump off this platform just like normal, we can see in the distance that we have the spire right here. Sorry, the spire right here, the second one. And we have the mountain right here. What I did before is I normally line myself up to about there and ran straight forward, and that would put me pretty close to that door that leads just outside of the barracks. So that way I could skip having to put on the cloak, take off the cloak, which is a lot. I say a lot of time. It's a few seconds wasted. Instead, what you can do, which is incredibly hard, is while you're running towards that pillar, you can line yourself up to about there or there. It's pretty narrow of a window. It's not super well understood yet. I guess it's well understood as to what's happening. It's not understood what the lineup is, and by that I mean I'm the only one doing it. But I'll run here, and what I'm looking for is as soon as the water disappears, I'm going to immediately hold back on the stick. So there I was, I believe, too far to the right. If I reload that state, I'll give myself a little bit more room. The way I try to line it up is that this pillar here and the mountain, the very, very edge of the mountain, should have a tiny gap between them. If you're too far to the left going for this, you'll end up actually clipping the load that loads Meridell Village, and you'll ruin the trick, load into Meridell Village, and it's more or less a dead run. Unless you go back out and do tree clip, just like we do in Act 3, and then redo all of this. But let's try this. I run here, I'm looking for the water to disappear. And as it does, I'm going to back up. Let's go a little bit more to the... or a little bit more to the right. No, a little bit more to the left, yeah. So let's say it's about a pencil's gap. We'll go with that. We'll see how that goes. And a lot of the time I'm doing this while I'm running forward, so I have less of a window to react to it. I'm going to try that one again because it was late. That one looks like it might have worked, and I'll explain why in a second. Let me try to hit this so I can at least show it off once. Ah, come on. So, the reason I think that one was close is because I'm not seeing any of the fade out, or the fade out of the purple clouds. So kind of how the screen fades to like the normal lightness or whatever. That one worked. There we go. I'll stay here for a second. When it fades into the lightness there, that kind of tells me I'm too far forward and I'm not going to get it. If I can get it like that, where it didn't fade at all before the water disappeared, I know that I'm either way too far left and I'm going to ruin it, or I'm just about right and will be able to do anti-darkness. It is very tight of a window to back up to not mess it up. From here, you'll see if it does look a little weird, but this is the courtyard. And that right there is the only door that works. So a little bit hard to see, but right here, you can kind of see the outline of the door. It's faint. The easier thing to look for is this path right here. That's the little like stone path leading up to the door. I look TOR directly at that stone path, hold the L2 and R1, and just run straight forward and start spamming square. And what'll happen, as long as you trust the process, is that you'll hit the door and you'll immediately load in. And it's about 2 seconds faster if you hit it and if you turn quickly. It is very hard to do. Not at all necessary. Super micro optimization. It's a more of a quality of life to... Because darkness can lose you a lot of time if you're not doing the uncloak, which if you mess it up, you probably should just go for the uncloak. It's so minor, but it can be worth. If you end up loading into the darkness still, but you backed up as if you were trying to do it, you're further away from the door you need to be at. At least you'll most likely be out of bounds, which will be nice. So if you weren't going for staying out of bounds in the first place, you would be now, and then you can try for this and then you can just uncloak, or just do the backup intending to go for the uncloak in the first place. Either way, it should still work. But regardless, we're here. And you're probably thinking, hey, what are we going to do because we don't have glitches? Which are cloak glitches. Well, we can turn to the right here, and go to our bed, and sleep in the bed. I'm not kidding. For whatever reason, single-use things like that will give us our glitches back. That applies to sleeping in the bed. That applies to using the lever upstairs to open the gate. That applies to the chests that are on the ground, like, say the ones on the 3rd floor of the castle, those two there, or the chest that has the wooden sword in it at the very beginning of the game. That kind of chest gives your cloak glitches back, whereas moat chests and treasure chests will take them away. Don't ask me why, we don't really know. Once we've done that, we've slept in the bed, which I'll do it again. It sets you to a specific position. It always sets you here facing out. But it doesn't change your camera angle. So I could say face like this, my camera will face that way, so long as it's a valid camera angle, and we'll do that. So if I'm running from here, I just run straight to the right, sleep in the bed, I hold L1 or L2, there's a small period while you're sleeping that you can actually move. And so if you listen, I'll be holding L2 until the screen fully fades to black, and then I'll hold up left, let go of L2, and jump to try and get on top of the bed during the darkness. The problem is that it's about a 2-second window. I believe the sleep is a full 4 seconds of lost control. But there's a 2-second time save, theoretically, if you get on top of the bed during the darkness and lined up, so that way you can just put on the cloak and immediately ledge fly. It's super hard. If you mess it up, it doesn't really lose you anything. I don't know. It's not going to hurt you to go for, but don't feel like you have to practice this. But I'm going to hold that. The only thing that could mess you up is that if you continue holding a direction, this is similar to the TDF fight when you get auto switch to Roberto. If you hold a direction for too long, you'll actually continue walking in that direction while you're doing, while you don't have control of Tor. So if I say do this and I continue, interesting, he didn't do it that time. Let's say I hold down, right? Why is he not doing it? He's supposed to just continue your movement. There you go. You can see that once I properly lost control of Tor again, because I was still holding a direction, I must have been letting it go early. He continued to run even though I had my finger off the stick. So that's a thing that can just kind of mess you up a little bit. But you see I hear the jump, and I went a little bit too far forward, but otherwise I would have hit that. Again, this is such a minor time save anyway that it doesn't really matter if you get it or not. But regardless, sleeping in the bed, reset your glitches. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna ledge fly out. Click R3 to put the camera directly behind us. We're gonna run straight over here. Just like normal. I'm not holding L2 because I'm bad at video games. And we're gonna run right into this, just like normal. Load into Sisters. This is the exact same as before, where we do Walge. Nothing is different here. Just line up with that, do the thrust. The biggest thing I have seen from noob runners is that they are not they're not waiting long enough on the thrust. So they're pulling back, they're going forward, and they're hitting swing immediately. In order for the game to register you as doing a thrust attack, you have to wait maybe a quarter second after you push back forward. It's like ba 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 to actually get the thrust attack into the wall. The other thing is making sure your face is all the way up against the wall, otherwise you're just gonna bonk on it. Here, you might be thinking, hey, we get pickup animations for these things. That's where Fig comes in. We save like 5 to 7 seconds in Act 2 now. So you can just walk right into that. The way that I like to do it, imagine it's still there, is I take this corner pretty tight and then I just do a spin like that. If you cut too hard, there is potential that you could kill your moment like that. If you cut really hard, you'll kill all of your speed. So you just want to do a quick spin like that. Use as little time as possible. Again, I like to come over and do fence clip. You can still walk the normal way. It's the same exact thing as before. It's not a good fence clip day. I did it wrong. I landed up here because I went too far backwards. Talk to Painter how? No. I've not done anything today, to be fair, so a little bit rusty. Remember, turn your camera to about 45 degrees and hold in the up left. And if you find the right spot, she'll go faster. I've noticed that when there's places where there aren't vines on both sides of you, so like where this branch starts coming out, she tends to slow down, but that's whatever. Jump into the branch, hold the L2, jump off this. I jumped too early, but you can get a speed slide off of this. I can see if I can show it off. Try one more time. And that's optimal. You've probably gotten it by accident if you've L2'd off this before. But you could take the time to line it up, do like that. I jumped too early again, but you're more or less just hitting the edge of that little, like, fog river. And then after that, you're jumping. You could do, like, a forward side flip like that. Text skip this, by the way. And then just go straight over the other side of the river and get a little bit of distance. It's just a little bit faster because you're stacking speed to the slide. I'll do something real quick. Okay. Again, Act 2 is normal. Nothing here is special, aside from us having Fig. We don't need to do anything special. We don't have cloaks. We don't need to reset glitches. Even if we did, we would still have glitches by default once we pick up something in the first place. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I haven't messed with having Fig and giving Cloak to Roberta. She might not have glitches by default. That is a future problem if we can find something helpful with it. We're going to run over to Saradar. We're going to do wand training just like normal. One short. Rise the book Irma aggro. It's a good thing I didn't do runs today. Everything is just going horribly. Let's see. Next thing will be Splaunch. Gotcha. We're gonna run like normal. We're gonna go to sleep. We're gonna go to Juju. We're gonna go to the old lady's cutscene. We're gonna go to the clock tower. We're gonna do the clock tower thing. We're gonna do Klub, which is clock tower oob. And then we're gonna end Act 2, and everything here is pretty much normal. Good time to mention, if you for some reason are watching these but haven't run the game, you really should run the game, but first you should play the game because this game is fantastic and needs more attention. Yes, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in this is pretty aggressive strats. There is an easier tutorial with the fastest strats and the most up-to-date route that we do that I made about 7 months ago now. That is a good starting point. It will get, I believe Niz, which is one of the new runners, just got into the top 3, and he's only been running for about a month or 2. How did I miss that? Maybe 3 months max, but I don't think it's been that long for him. But regardless, you too can speedrun Neopets. This game is fantastic. Just play it casually first, I beg of you. It's good, I swear. Everything here is normal. Also, I'm currently trying to push the YOAK record down to a 30-minute flat. Wait, 30-minute something, as opposed to a 31 or 32 or whatever. 30XX. We are very close to that. I just need to perform a little bit better in the early and mid-game. Specifically Act 3. Act 3 has easily become the hardest part of the route now. And it's so easy. And then eventually, if we find like a few more things, we might be able to push for a 29 for YOAK, which would be insanely fast. Rest in peace, Noil. Beyond that, we're still pushing no cloak. I'm trying to get it down to a 26. It's at a 2730 right now. We'll see what goes with that. I eventually want to return to Hundo. I just don't have the energy or willpower to do it right now, especially with classes starting tomorrow. So that's rough. And also go check out Celestial Shine. She's running all bosses right now. Go follow op_Niz. Op_Niz. We love Niz. He is the new runner I mentioned before, and I know this is Champ's name. Josh at Josh and Miranda Gaming is currently relearning the route. He took a little bit of time off while he was busy with work and whatnot, but I know he said he was going to relearn the route and start running again. So, absolutely doable. Go give those guys some love. For Act 2 here, we're just doing everything like normal. Big thing is, again, when we go through the one doorway, you don't have to look down for minion spawn management. MSMing, in this area at least, is literally just holding L2 right here, and this slow menu will delay his spawn for some reason. Here, I should have done it earlier, but while we're running, I like to moat over to the wind moat and equip that on Roberto. The reason I do that is because if I mess up the melt on the sisters because I'm going so fast, which happens sometimes, the tier 2 moat will do slightly more damage, especially since we're using a power potion, and it could make the difference between one-shotting and two-shotting one of the sisters, or two-shotting versus three-shotting the sisters. It's incredibly minor, but it can make a difference. It's not going to hurt to put it on, is my point. And we're exiting Act 2. And so now we have Act 3. The single hardest part of the run now. Here, I'm actually going to kill these minions so I can show off a little bit. It wants to reflect properly. Okay. Okay. So here's where we do the Megajump, right? Simple things. We do the Megajump like normal. Right over the wall. Actually gonna go back over that. I've seen some new runners angle it towards the tree here, so you can still do the tree bounce and get over the wall pretty consistently. That's fine. Ideally, which I don't remember the setup I used to use way back, but you can aim it to where you can get straight over this invis wall without bonking it like I did there. And you can stack your speed way, way, way higher and kind of get a Tokyo Drift kind of effect around that corner back there. Like that. It seems to be like it's more to the right. But regardless, we're gonna come up here, we're gonna do this. Here's another optional thing that is faster. When I said a lot of this was hyper optimizations, I wasn't kidding. Jumping into that text box gives you low grab, of course. And what we would normally do here is stand about here, and we would cloak dash over this. Or mega jump if you're feeling uncomfortable. What we can do instead is use spins to our advantage, because we can get extra speed and extra distance as a result. In this middle section between this line and this line, there's these 5 rows of bricks, and in the middle, this one is ever so slightly darker. What I want to do here is, with low gravity, run up and start my spin anywhere on the, like, the closer half to me of these bricks, these darker ones. Like that, and I'm going to continue holding forward, and I'm going to go straight. And as soon as the spin ends, I'm going to be spamming or time my jump button, and I'm going to jump over the bridge like that. That is also the new strat we're going to use for no cloak, instead of doing the super cringe lineup that we used to do. Around here. Make sure I was in the right spot. This is another place that if you go for this, I would recommend having a save. The way that I like to line this up is that I usually start my spin inputs around here, which should look like that. And you could either get the high jump like that, or you can get the cloak dash like jump if you go either a little bit later, I believe is the one that gives you that. As long as you're getting across, it doesn't matter how you're doing it. This is slightly faster because we don't have to menu as much. That one is a little bit far back, so I had to do the high jump there, regardless. It's slightly faster because you're not doing the menuing with the cloak and the cloak dash and whatnot. Again, that's a super minor thing. Here's where Act 3 gets really hard. Genuinely speaking. Once we're over the bridge, we're going to run like normal. But instead of trying to avoid Gord's dialogue, we're going to come to the right of his dialogue. Also, L2 and look down here while running can minion spawn management this artillery. We're going to come to the right. I like to enter about here. We're going to that Starlight potion. You don't have to jump into it. In fact, I would actually recommend not jumping into it if you're going to go for this next trick. Because we need high, you don't need high gravity, but it makes it easier to do with high gravity. We're going to buy 4 Starlight potions here. These are what we're going to use for Gauntlet. And this might seem dumb. It's because it is dumb. It's a very dumb strat. We're going to run right over here. We're going to spawn manage the artillery and ideally the wizard. We're going to come right here. Highly, highly, highly recommend having a save here. So what I'm looking for on... I'm trying to despawn him real quick. What we're looking for is this here. So we have this seam right here. This is the mark of the normal ground. So like if I were to drop off right here and go back into this wall, I can't go back into the wall. Like it's just there. The wall is there. Now, if I sit here and I look a little bit closely, game wants to cooperate. There's this little seam that goes just like this. It's kind of faint. That seam, if I were to say drop off to the side here and then drop back into the wall, I can go through the wall. Why is this important? Well, it kind of comes further back, like back to here and here, and it's not a straight line. If we were to clip out of a water plane, like say you did it at Lily Pad at the beginning of the game, you would normally game over. However, that's because you have one character. We have 2 characters now, so instead it just swaps our character. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up on the edge here. We're going to step off the side, and then we're going to run right back to the right, and we're going to jump just before we hit the water plane, and we're going to end up wrong-warping ourselves. I like to line up with... There's this, like, lighter patch of grass here. I step just about on the very edge of this, about here. The tip, if you will. And obviously I'd have a speed potion here. What I do, with high gravity, mind you, is I hold L2 and R1, I step to the left, as soon as I start falling off, I hold to the right, and just before I hit the water, I'm jumping. Should look like that. Tor will slide, we'll get warped here as Roberta, and just to prove, Tor is still alive. That's not a problem. We still have Tor. I'll show this a few more times. It's a little bit awkward. If you jump too early, you won't have any momentum when you hit the water, so you won't be able to slide out. It is possible to just land on the edge. Let's see if I can do that. You have to be a little bit further. If you jump really early, you'll just upwarp like that. That one I still slid some, regardless. You want to time your jump to be just before you hit the water. If you time it just as you hit the water, you won't get it. If you time it too early, you'll just kind of drop into the water like that. Just before you hit the water, so you get that slide. That's how you know you did it right. Here, we still have the invisible wall, unfortunately. But we have enough potions. And you might be thinking, okay, we just wasted a potion, right? Not exactly. Assuming you didn't die on bridge, this potion that we're about to pop would be the same potion you pop right about when you do Treedge there, just like we did before. So it uses the same number of potions, surprisingly. I need to find a way to use those. So I'm going to pop this here. And I'm just going to do the same clip we do at the beginning of the game. Go through. We're going to come up this first platform here. And This might seem weird because we need to get into the castle. We're running away from Meridon. If we come to the left side here and jump, you know how before I've said like, oh, you want to be right on the ledge for certain things, especially ledge flies. For this one, we're going to go for a downwards angle ledge fly. With Tor, what we can do is that we can slash against the edge and it'll pop us back a little bit so we don't fall off. With Roberta, she doesn't have that mechanic, so instead what we can do is we can just do the vault into the ledge like that, where you're jumping and moving upwards when you hit the ledge, so she kind of goes over it, turn around, step a little bit forward, turn towards this wall, and ledge fly right out just by holding down. Right here. So I'll show that again. So I come to the left here, I do that, I turn to the side, I step forward a little bit, we ledge fly right down. I don't know if you need to necessarily step forward here, you might not need to, but I know for sure that it makes it possible. It makes it easier because you have to have a pretty aggressive angle if you're that far back, because your downwards angle is going to be much harder. But regardless, we're out of bounds here, and so we're going to walk straight to the left here. So I don't even turn until I start dropping off this ledge. I do this, and then I start turning. There's a little invisible wall here. I will, if you walk into it too long, it'll do that. I jump over that, it'll click. And this looks familiar because it's the same place we were before. So normally we would have come from over here, where those two planes of green death are. But instead we just spawned right where we would normally upwarp. And so we're going to do the same thing we did before with attempting anti-darkness. So I'm just going to run straight into the distance here. I'm going to guess like this. That. Spam square. And I messed up my lineup. Yeah, I was too far to the left there. And at this point, your best bet is to cloak off and on. It looks like here I got stuck in that little gap there. That's another thing that can happen, is there's a gap between one of the planes you can stand on that isn't visible and the plane that is visible. If you know you should be moving forward but you're not, back up to get on top of it and then go back forward and you'll land on top of it. From here, we have probably the single hardest part of the run, if you choose to go for it. And that is Starlight Gauntlet. So getting up to Sisters and all that is the exact same. I'm going to go up here. Another advantage of Wrongwarp is that we don't have to swap to Roberta because it swaps to her for us. Ah, did it wrong. I'll run up. I'll do the backup here. So I failed the ledge fly. If for whatever reason you do fail the ledge fly, the backup is to run into this first room on the 3rd floor, come to this plant, walk right behind the plant, and do that. It's just like the Illusen's clip. And jump straight through on that far side, and we're here. So we're going to melt Sisters just like normal. Let me... How am I doing this? Please. I didn't mean to pop that. Oh well. Good enough. If you're not hitting on the second swing, so I'll show that off like that there, you're going too fast with your attacks. You need to slow down your 3-hit combos for these two here. Which I got both of them. Over the Ottoman ledge fly. And again, this is mostly once you're facing forward. Hold R1, push the stick forward while you're taking the cloak off, go to a down right angle, and then hit X. A lot of the time, if you're doing a jump off of it, you're either too far to the right, which is most likely the case. If you're getting a really, really sharp downwards angle, you're too far to the left. Here, we're just going to drop through this, and here we are. Let me think. I want to get this out of my inventory. I think I can pop it. Okay. The reason I want that out of my inventory is because we use the slot here for the Starlight potions. Normally, I wouldn't have that. I picked those up earlier just to show something. But power potion because I wasn't supposed to use the other one. Okay, so here what I have is I would have a power potion going, I would have a miracle speed potion going, and I'm about to run it. And this is gonna look different. I'm gonna do it first, and then I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. So this is what Starlight should look like, more or less. I'm lucky with that minion spawning me. Okay, how did that miss? That was a really crude showing of what that would look like. So what we're doing, I will break this down piece by piece. So we're running in, and I'm spamming R3 to center the camera behind me. The reason being is that I want to run through these two pillars to Tor's left, right in this gap here, so that I can go over to the minions on the left side, go in between them and place a Starlight, because it'll be just big enough to hit both of them, and I can't hit all three. And then go over and jump slash the one on the right. I like to run pretty far back in case they do their backflips. We do that. So they're both dead. Here, I'm charging my water attack. I was late here. So that I can hit both of these brutes. And just before I let go of water, I'm popping the second Starlight potion. The reason being is that if enemies are unaware, you get stealth damage in this game. Don't ask me why it's a thing. So freezing them and then having the Starlight go off, make sure that they are not targeted to me, technically speaking, thus doing the maximum amount of damage we can get. That, swap to light, and just 3-hit combo them down. Here, what I'm going to do. Your power potion will run out at some point during Gauntlet if you get the first try Ottoman Ledgefly. So during this third brute is usually when you'll have to pop your potion, or just after. So I'm going to run over to him, not walk into him, but close. Pop the Starlight, menu down to my purple juppies, pop a couple of those so I'm over half mana. And then menu to my power potion and pay attention to my damage, or just start spamming it while I'm killing him. Oops. Mess that up. So here. So here. I'm standing in the middle of where the two artillery spawn. Just going to do it like this, because I wouldn't... While I'm running over, I would be menuing all of this. And I'm going to start charging this water, spamming my power pot while I'm doing this to make sure it pops. Right after the artillery are frozen, I want the Starlight to hit so that I can get the max damage on them. Standing here in this middle big square, it's pretty lenient so long as you're in like the front half. So like if this line here is like the midway point of the giant square, if you're in the front half, like somewhere along the midline of it, it seems to work fine. And when they're frozen, they'll both get hit by the Starlight potion, and then from there, one jump slash will kill them. So long as your power potion is active. So here I'm going to actually select this. What I did there with the double equip of wind is that I'll show it here now. So if I do water, it takes about 1 second and 3/4 for me to get control back of Tor. Whereas it takes about 1.5 seconds for me to get control if I do a cancel like that. Because the slash, like the normal slash, is faster. If I were to do, let's just see out of curiosity, because I've never tested this. if I were to just do... Maybe that is faster. Hold on. Hold on. Let me retime this a little bit. Yeah, it's like 1 3/4 because I did that a little bit early. $1.34 versus 1.27. Okay, so it's faster just to do the one tap. Good to know. I'm doing that to cancel the animation so we can save a little bit of time. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So here I'm gonna time this. I'm gonna time old Gauntlet versus current Gauntlet. We're gonna do old fast Gauntlet. I'm gonna time it like that. This also removes warrior aggro RNG, which is really nice. Like not having to deal with that and only having to deal with one aggroing properly is very nice. I'll be honest, I almost popped the Starlight there. That was just tragically bad. So that's a consequence. That's something that can happen if you mess up your positioning on both Starlet and this. I've not done regular fast Gauntlet in so long. This is going to take a minute. It was not an amazing fast Gauntlet, but it was acceptable. It was about 41 seconds. Here's what ideal Starlet will look like, assuming I can get it. Ah, the other one didn't aggro. Or the other one didn't die. Oh, I meant to jump slash him. Oh, that's okay. So what you're trying to aim for here, ideally, for Starlet, is making both of those in the back aggro. And if they're not aggroing, you have to go a little bit further back to hit the one in the middle there, because his backflip is a little bit too far back to be hit by most positions. That was just bad on every count I think I've ever seen. I don't know what I was doing at the end there. I was letting it get in my head. Try this one more time. An attempt where I actually get past the start, please. Also, you want to wait to hit that brute there so that the Starlight gets its max damage. Ideally, I would have put on the wind in midair, but I messed that up. But I'm also now realizing that I didn't hit the cutscene trigger. So I'm going to go hit that. Yeah. So, based off of that arbitrary timing, which was honestly kind of a bad timing, but regardless, it's 12 seconds faster at a minimum. They have their shield back. What? I've never seen this before. Okay. Starlet here real quick. It's almost too early there. My timing is perfect. I don't know how I swapped characters there, to be honest with you. Out of power potion, you need 2. Wipe my face. I didn't get the power potion off. Normally I would pop the power potion there. That just guarantees they're dead here. Only got 1, and I got the slow. To be noted, can you just die, please? Thank you. To be noted, if you get slowed during the sisters, it is faster for you to swap. Especially for the fact that you haven't popped a power potion on Roberta yet. Let's see. Outside of this, the rest of Act 3 is normal. A little side effect of Fig is that you might have seen that stone from early Act 2 is there. It doesn't do anything. I think it may... Yeah, it puts it in your inventory again, but it doesn't affect anything. Everything's perfectly fine. We will go through the library and through Endless Staircase like normal. We will go over to Fiora like normal, and one thing for the canceling the 2 text boxes at the beginning, where she tells you to go like hit the target and to power the target and whatnot. You want to run upright, but don't go inside of the circle that they're fighting in. Just enough so that the ring around the target starts to be like illuminated. So I did that too early. But then you want to do your 4 attacks there. So if I stepped another step or 2 forward, that would have done properly. Over here, do left, left, right. I didn't open my consumable menu. And run right back into here. Act 4 has one change that is incredibly risky, but is faster. Here, I just like to menu this early. I'm bad at video games. Come up here. We don't need to jump into this because we have Fig, jump down here like normal, slash, which I might not even need to do, get my positioning, do the ledge fly. I don't know why I was hitting R3 there, that was useless and actually messed me up. Drop right down. A good thing, I'm actually kind of glad I landed outside of this. If you're confused on where you need to be for this elevator trigger, there's these lines that go across it. So there's the one here, there's the one here, and there's the one here. I refer to this one as the second one because I don't count the edge. So line 1, line 2. You need to be just inside of line 2. So if I step right there, that's where you want to be. The closer you can be to the door there, the better. Also, the door up top is the exact same position the door down here is going to be. So, just a little fun fact, so you don't have to, like, nauseate yourself spinning. Here, the change we have is I like to grab low grab either there or here. And I make my save here. And you can do a Splaunch, a spin launch. So come around the corner, do like that, hold L2, and jump just like that through the wall. And we're down here. It is a little scary. You can game over doing it even if you hit the jump. If your jump was way too early, you'll get through the wall. And if you jumped very, very early, like you just barely made it through the wall, you're probably going to clip the game over plane. That's the one risk with it. Also, for the people doing Megajump still, you don't need to have low gravity. You can just come here and just do the Megajump. Just like that. I believe you can do this. Unbuffered is questionable. If you had a low grab, maybe you could do it unbuffered fairly reliably. Like, yeah. I wouldn't go for it. I still think it's better just to do the Splaunch. It's not terribly hard. If you want to be really spooky, I only do this on runs that are like, it's dead already unless I do something like this, where you can have high grav, make the jump like that. Technically speaking, that is slower because you're getting the ledge grab. But it is funnier for swag points. You can also do that if you don't do your thing right. If you're getting caught on an invisible wall there, you'll fall into the game over plane unless you jump through it. Just a thing of note. The big thing is to make sure you're holding L2 for long enough and you're not too close to this wall here. If you're too close to this wall, you'll just rub against it and lose all your speed. But that's what a Splaunch would look like there. And we're just going to run down here and we're going to do motes like normal. I didn't need to do that early, it's okay. We don't have to jump into this one since we're doing Fig. And then again, we're going to jump into this, and we're going to hold back on the stick, wiggle it so you can start running as soon as possible so you're not stuck in place. Please skip the cutscene. L2 forward, R1, jump just before to hit the cutscene properly. This, and we're going to do spins on TDF. It's bad. Pretty bad TDF fight, but that's okay. It could have been worse. And there you go. You have completed the run with the updated strats. GG. Good luck, because those strats are fairly hard. I still mess them up. And, you know, maybe you'll be the next world record holder. Who knows? We'll find out. I'm supposed to stop time there, not start. Whatever. I'll see y'all later. Good luck. Adios.